what Oprah Winfrey wants her legacy to be. But guess what? It's not.
What?
It's not Mrs. O.
Ooh.
Because you were snookered by the biggest liars in history, and you're now trying to backtrack on those lies because you know that your reputation was shot the moment that you allowed Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to try and bring down the British royal family with a tissue of untruths.
Like, I tried so hard.
Everyone remembers that interview as a brave princess pouring her heart out to a trusted friend. Let me tell you what it really was. Two of the most calculating women in show business sitting in a rented Californian garden using each other for exactly what they each needed. And this week, 5 years on, the whole grubby little arrangement is coming apart in public, and oh, it is a joy to watch. Here's the deal they struck, though neither of them would ever be caught calling it a deal. Meghan Markle needed her battered image scrubbed spotless, and there is no bigger washing machine in America than Oprah Winfrey. And Oprah needed a royal. She'd been hunting one for 30 years. So the two of them sat in that garden and handed each other precisely what they came for. Meghan got her sympathy story, Oprah got her 49 million viewers, and the British royal family, who had done nothing but open their doors to this woman, got thrown under the bus to pay for the pair of them.
First, she reveals the interview. She hit back at suggestions that the couple didn't know what they were going to be asked. She then admitted that she had told Prince Harry and Meghan that this was all about a win-win. This is going to be good for you guys, and it's going to be good for me. So they sat down to film for the 3.5 hours, and Oprah thought that her career legacy was set. Instead, as we'll soon see, she's now desperately trying to explain why she encouraged Meghan Markle's lies rather than challenged them.
Strip the tears away, and it was a business deal dressed up as a confession. All two women who have spent their entire lives stage managing exactly how the world sees them agreeing to stage manage it together for one very profitable afternoon. Now the bill has come due, and suddenly both of these women are very quietly trying to wipe their fingerprints off the weapon. Meghan's over on MasterChef Australia pretending she's a homely little cook who lives for family, and Oprah has just sat down with Vanity Fair, been shown that infamous moment back, and physically squirmed in her seat, waving the whole thing away like it was a tiny misunderstanding from a lifetime ago. Don't let that performance fool you for 1 second. This isn't a woman who's found her conscience. This is a woman protecting Oprah. The story these two sold the world is falling to bits, and neither of them wants to be caught standing next to it when it finally hits the floor. So tonight we're doing something the tabloids never do.
They didn't know, obviously, anything that I was going to ask them, but I had said to them ahead of time, I'm going to try to cover everything. This interview took 3.5 hours. And as is always the case for me, I was just trying to carefully go through everything that had come up in the past.
No, you weren't. You were just admitting that you wanted it to be a win. You weren't talking about it being a win for the truth, or a win for journalism, or a win for the British royal family. You were talking about it being a win for Harry and Meghan, and for you.
We're putting both of them in the dock. The truth is, they deserved each other. They play her this old clip from 2021 where basically during the pandemic, when people are locked in their homes, they're struggling to pay their bills, their businesses have been shut down. Oprah, Meghan Markle, and Prince Harry sat around in a massive mansion, I believe owned by Rob Lowe, and complained about how hard their lives were. Now this is when Meghan Markle stopped being relatable to anybody. People are locked in their homes. People are dying. Their family members are on life support, right? On incubators. And she's sitting there complaining how hard it was for her to live in a palace and be in the royal family eating crumpets and scones. And Oprah realized after that interview, in my opinion, because of all the reporting and all of the lies that were debunked, Oprah realized she was used. Meghan Markle is a con artist, and she used Oprah Winfrey to launder her image. Let's start with Saint Oprah.
Trash Panda asking, why do you think she's bringing this all up now? Stephanie Sidley replies, because Harry and Meghan are backpedaling on the racism claims. But the royal grift ain't happy. Maybe I should post the full unedited interview on X, so we don't have a rewriting of history. Fuck you, Oprah. You knew what you were doing with this.
That halo could do with a polish. The fairy tale we were sold is that Oprah did that interview out of friendship and principle. Rubbish. Oprah had been chasing a royal scalp for the best part of 3 decades, and everyone in television knew it. This was never about Meghan. Meghan was simply the one who finally said yes. She was gunning for this interview. She started poaching Harry and Meghan about a sit-down 6 months before they were wed. She was desperate to sit down with Princess Diana Diana, kissing her butt, sitting across from her at Kensington Palace, trying to get Diana to give her an exclusive. Diana lovingly wrote her a note that was like, no way. And here's the part that tells you everything about both women. Long before Meghan ever came along, Oprah wanted Diana, the real one, the people's princess, the biggest interview on the planet. She went after it hard, so they say, and Diana, God rest her, was far too clever to be reeled in. She sent Oprah a gracious little no and kept her dignity intact. You know, wanted to sit down with the Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Catherine, and they said, absolutely no way. That's beneath us. She got Fergie, which is convenient because I think Harry and Meghan are on the Fergie level, but this was a huge win for Oprah Winfrey, who'd been chasing legitimate members of the British royal family for an interview for decades. Oprah tried again years later with William and Catherine and got the same answer: a polite door shut in her face. The genuine royals could smell the circus coming a mile off, and that right there is the tell. The real royals, the ones with actual class, took one look at Oprah Winfrey and said no thank you. They didn't need her, and they weren't about to hand over 1,000 years of dignity to be picked apart on daytime telly for her ratings, if she knows what the repercussions were. Ultimately, Prince Philip dies weeks later, and we understand that he was devastated over this interview in hospital while it aired, and at the time, I remember some of the headlines that people from the Sussex camp were saying that because he was in hospital, they shouldn't have to hold this interview, that didn't affect them. The poor man dies weeks later. It devastated Queen Elizabeth II. It made the last few years of her life very difficult to navigate. On top of the Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor saga, she had Harry and Meghan accusing her family of racism and bullying and not taking their mental health seriously. It took a very particular sort of person to say yes to Oprah, someone with nothing left to lose and an awful lot to sell. So who finally bit? The one royal desperate enough to trade the family for a sympathy special. This interview was historic. It changed the course of royal history. It changed the course of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's lives. And those of us who at the time, like you did, that what Oprah Winfrey was actually allowing was lies to be broadcast around the world in an attempt to bring down the British royal family. At the time, we called her out, but she was surrounded Tash by so much noise and so much wokery and so many people patting her on the back and saying, oh, well done, you'll just change the royal family forever. What she didn't realize is that she hadn't done her job. But I think Tash, as Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have been exposed on such a grand scale, such a lengthy period now, Oprah has had to backtrack. And I appreciate that I think she's embarrassed. I think she's deeply, deeply embarrassed, and she wants to change the legacy of this interview. Meghan wasn't Oprah's dear friend. Meghan was the consolation prize, the runner-up rosette, the only royal on earth willing to sit in that chair, an image to launder and a grudge to settle. And Oprah was the cheapest laundrette in town. Think about how bleak that is for Oprah. Heartbreaking, but you know, and if you still believe that famous Oprah warmth is the real thing, well, the internet has spent the last couple of years pulling that apart, brick by brick. The empathy was always a performance, that all the leaning in and the soft voice and the "and how did that make you feel" was never once about compassion. It was a crowbar, a way to lever open whoever was sitting in that chair and get the tears on tape as the cameras rolled, and ask the poor souls who came off worst in that chair. Here's Oprah's other little trick, the one that matters most for our story. She controls the edit, always has. She decides what stays in, what gets quietly snipped out, exactly how you come across the night it airs. When one woman owns the questions and the final cut, the guest was never really the one in charge. Love, you just thought you were. Oprah Winfrey is so powerful that when she sat down with Vanity Fair to do this, she could have easily said, this one's off the table, this one's off limits, because it is so controversial and it's not a great reflection of her. If I were Oprah Winfrey, I would have been like, I don't want to revisit this one. Then there's the pattern nobody in Hollywood likes to say out loud. Oprah builds people up, cashes in, and is conveniently 3 miles away the second they turn toxic. She made Dr. Phil a household name. Then came Dr. Oz. She personally sang the praises of a so-called Brazilian faith healer who turned out to be a genuine monster. And every single time the scandal broke, there was Oprah. Clean hands, wounded eyes, already halfway out the door. Isn't that telling? The knock on her, and it is a very fair one, is that she is forever at the scene of the crime and never once the one with the knife in her hand. She thought Oprah Winfrey who was beloved by Black women across the country, could come on camera and rehabilitate her and make her this victim. This is during Black Lives Matter. You guys have to remember what was going on in 2020 and 2021. She really tried to use Oprah, and Oprah Winfrey has not said anything positive about her since then. And the charge that stings hardest is the newest one, that the whole saintly act, the schools, the charities, the tearful specials, is a costume she puts on to get her hands on whatever she's after. And the moment the camera stopped rolling, so does the empathy. When she caught heat over her own conduct during the Maui fires, she didn't put her hands up. She went on television and cast herself as the real victim, terrorized and vilified. Now that is the Oprah trick in a single sentence. Whatever the mess, somehow she always the one we're meant to feel sorry for. Good grief. Oprah does not like being played. She is a rich bitch whether I agree with her politics or not, or I like her that much. She is a boss, and she realized after that interview, these two are playing me. They played me. She sat in my face and lied. And notice she has never once paid a real price for any of it. Not for the healers, not for the miracle products that turned out to be junk, nor for the powerful men she beamed beside who turned out to be monsters. Every scandal that would have sunk a normal person just slides off Oprah and lands on somebody else. She doesn't merely appear on the show. For 50 years, she has owned the show, the questions, the edit, and the ending. When you're the one working the scissors, you are never the one who gets cut. Even the giveaways weren't what they looked like. That famous "you get a car" moment the whole world coos over. The audience got landed with the tax bill on those cars and plenty couldn't pay it. That's Oprah in one line. The grand generous gesture on camera and somebody else quietly footing the bill once the lights go down.